What's going on, everybody? Brian here. I'm going to give you a quick mini review of the MSI GT680R-008US gaming laptop. This retails for about $1,500. I paid about $1,650 because I bought it straight from MSI. I like buying expensive products straight from the manufacturer. I just feel a little better, and you also get better warranty options. But you are able to find this for about $1,500 on Newegg.com. Now, I first saw this laptop at CES. I was actually at MSI's press conference at CES, and once I saw some of the new products, I just really fell in love with their products and the company because I like what they're doing. But anyway, onto the laptop. This actually has a 2 GHz Intel Core i7-2630QM. That is the latest Sandy Bridge processor. It comes with 8 gigs of DDR 1066 RAM. This laptop actually has 4 RAM slots, so you could actually put 16 gigs of RAM in here if you would like. It also comes with 2 500 gigabyte hard drives. Both of them are 7200 RPM, and they were both put into RAID 0. This does actually have 2 hard drive bays, and I actually took one of the hard drives out and I swapped them with a 64 gigabyte solid state drive. And I put the other 500 gigabyte hard drive that I took out of there, and I put it into a USB 3.0 enclosure, which I actually have right here. Here is one of the hard drives that came with the laptop. It is a Western Digital Scorpio Black hard drive at 7200 RPM, SATA at 3 gigabits per second. So the GT680 also has a GTX 460M with 1.5 gigabytes of video RAM. Very fast mobile gaming card, especially for a laptop. Very good. There are better options out there, but the GTX 460M is great for most people. You can play through the latest games without any issues, such as Crysis 2, Call of Duty Black Ops, which isn't really graphics intensive. Portal 2 isn't really graphics intensive either, but this thing whips through pretty much any game you'll throw at it at 1080p with pretty good texture settings and things like that. Now, the sound system comes from Dynaudio, and there is a little subwoofer at the bottom of the laptop, but these speakers, there's one over on the right, of course, one on the left. There's a little red metal ring around them as well. And this thing gives you amazing audio quality. These speakers sound so crisp and clear. The surround sound effect that they can give as well, it's just amazing. These are the best speakers you can find in any laptop around. It really is that good. You just really have to hear it yourself to actually believe it. I was just blown away by how crazy the audio system is. It looks simple, but it just sounds great. The GT680 also features a 15-inch 1920 by 1080 display. Viewing angles are actually pretty good. Most of the color, the detail in the color, for the most part, it stays in there for various viewing angles. So the display is very nice. The colors are accurate. They look great. It's a 1080p display. There are other gaming laptops with 15-inch 1080p displays, but this is excellent. It looks very nice. I enjoy looking at it for long periods of time. At the top of the display, you can see that there is a webcam. It is a HD webcam. It's actually 2 megapixels, so it can capture video at up to 720p. There's also a microphone to the left of that. Now, looking at the keyboard, let me just zoom in a little bit. It is a full-size keyboard because you can see the number pad over to the right. Now, the keyboard itself, it's not really the greatest keyboard. It does take a long time to actually get used to. I am able to type full speed, over 180 words per minute on this keyboard. Some people have said that it misses your keystrokes, but to me, I haven't really experienced that. You just need to make sure you push a little bit harder on the keys. But overall, the keyboard, not that great. It takes a while to get used to, and it does flex a little bit. If you push hard, you can actually see a bunch of the keys move down a little bit, so it's not the best quality keyboard either, but it does get the job done, and you can see that the WASD keys are highlighted in red because, if you play first-person shooters, those are your main movement keys. Taking a closer look at the trackpad, let me just zoom into it a little bit. It's not the largest trackpad. It actually has its own dedicated left and right click buttons. The trackpad is made by a company called Centelic, and this trackpad does not support any multi-touch gestures at all. I don't know why MSI decided to go ahead with Centelic. I don't know if they didn't want to pay Synaptics, if they didn't want to pay various licensing fees or whatever. But this trackpad, it gets the job done, but it's not that great. I actually made a dedicated video for the actual scrolling, because scrolling through web pages vertically and horizontally, it's a little bit different. Instead of actually scrolling on the right side of the trackpad, there's actually 4 little touch sensitive areas, and you just have to keep tapping those to move your web page up or down. So it's not really the best way to scroll through your web pages, but it works, and once you get used to it, it's not too bad of an experience at all. Here you can see some of the design on the laptop, sort of a honeycomb effect in the palm rest area. Now above the keyboard, you can actually see that there are some touch sensitive buttons. Starting from the left, it says P1. That one actually goes into theater mode, which it changes the display a little bit. It adds more color and makes it brighter and stuff. And it also turns on surround sound mode for your speakers. And this is obviously great for watching movies. The next button you'll see is a turbo button, and that will actually overclock the processor and the video card just a little bit to give you some more frames in your game. So in my testing, I would either get between 2 and 10 frames per second extra added to my already high frame rate, because this is a pretty good gaming laptop. To the right of that button is the fan control button. If you turn that on, it'll actually turn the fan on full blast. There's only one fan in this laptop. It doesn't get too loud. You are able to hear it, obviously, but it's not too loud. I was actually surprised that it wasn't as loud as I thought it would be, especially for a big gaming laptop such as this one. Now the next button, which is also to the left of the power button, which is lit up currently, you can see this button actually lets you lock the Windows key. So if you're in the middle of a video game and you constantly accidentally touch the Windows key, because that actually minimizes your game, which is bad, you could actually enable that button, which will actually turn the Windows button off. Then of course we have the power button, and we have 4 more keys up here. So you can see the one that's currently lit, that is for Wi-Fi. This button lets you easily turn the Wi-Fi card on or off. The button to the right of that is for Bluetooth. You could turn Bluetooth on or off. The button next to that is actually Eco Mode, and this lets you change between various power settings. There are a bunch for office mode, gaming mode. There's also a turbo battery mode. Speaking of battery, this is easily able to get at least 3.5 hours of battery life doing general tasks such as working in Microsoft Word, going through websites, listening to music. For a system with these specs, the battery life is actually pretty good. Now, this does not feature switchable graphics, so you aren't able to switch from the GTX 460M to the integrated Intel HD 3000, which is built right onto the Sandy Bridge processor. There's just no way to do that unless you actually take the GTX 460M out of the computer, but that's actually a pain because you have to take the entire cooling system out, which involves a huge heat sink and a bunch of other stuff. But if this laptop was able to use the integrated graphics, this would probably it could possibly double the battery life. So I don't know why they didn't integrate that technology into here. But once you're in turbo battery mode, it'll actually give you a bunch of battery life, and it basically downclocks the processor and the graphics card significantly to give you that extra battery life. Now, you're still able to use the laptop. It's still very fast, even at this incredibly downclocked speeds, but you're able to get good battery life. And the button all the way to the right actually disables or enables the lights, because this laptop actually has lights. Let me zoom out again. It actually has lights down here and over there. You can't really see them here. And there are also some lights on the lid portion. There's some lights here. The MSI logo lights up, and there's some lights over there as well. And there are 3 little lights around the trackpad that light up as well. If you actually disable the trackpad, those will actually light up. Now, for the ports, you actually have 2 USB 3 ports right here. Let me zoom into those a little bit. They're fairly hard to see, but you do get 2 USB 3.0 ports here. Here we have a multi-card reader. Here we have a USB 2.0 port. Nothing on the front. Now on this side you have 5.1 surround sound audio inputs and outputs. Then there's also another USB 2.0 port. And here we have your DVD drive. And on the back we have a few more ports. We have the power plug, a gigabit Ethernet jack, VGA output, eSATA, and HDMI. So this laptop features all of the ports you could possibly think of. Of course, it doesn't have Thunderbolt, but that's an Apple thing, and it's not really practical to consumers at the moment anyway. So performance is obviously good. Paired with the 2 GHz Sandy Bridge Core i7 processor and the GTX 460M, this thing is blazing fast, especially with the solid-state drive. This can easily boot up in less than 20 seconds from the time it goes to the Windows boot screen to my desktop. Very fast computer. Gaming is obviously great. I don't really do synthetic benchmarks, so I didn't run any 3D Mark or PC Mark or Geekbench benchmarks. I don't really care for those. To me, what's more important is the actual frame rate that I get in games, and this thing is just great with video games. At 1920 by 1080, high settings for most games, this thing will just blaze right through those, especially Crysis 2. I was surprised how well this actually played Crysis 2 considering it's supposed to be a very graphics intensive game. I was able to get, 40 frames per second at high settings, and it just looked really, really great. But overall, this is an amazing laptop. You can't beat the deal, especially if you're a MacBook user. This thing is just, a MacBook Pro with similar specs to this computer would easily cost $1,000 more than this. So all in all, it's a great laptop. I really like it. It is a bit on the chunky side. Towards the back, it is about 1.5 inches thick, but it wasn't as thick as I thought it would be when I first received it. But about to run out of SD card space. But anyway, overall, this is a great laptop. I love it. This is my everyday computer, and it's just great. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave them down below in the comments area. But that's about it. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.